As you all know, on every single Friday, me and my man Dr. Damon, founders of Modern Manhood, love to bring extraordinary people on the platform who exemplify excellence that's going on in the world. So we are happy to be joining you all this morning. I know where we're at, it's snowing outside, so that's the perfect opportunity for you to be able to tap in with somebody that I find that's truly amazing. Now, my friend DC Constant, I've been knowing her for some years now. Rest in peace to our good friend Jarvis. He introduced us. And
Yeah.
since we first met, man, we've been pretty going on fire with different projects. She is an author, she is a minister, and she is a founder of the amazing organization Successful Wives Network. I actually had my first interview on a podcast with my wife because of Mrs. DC Constance. I just read her book, her new book, The Imperfect. Let me see, The Perfect Imperfect Wife. I'm gonna put it up here so you all can go and get her book. But we are happy to have her on our platform today. DC, to me, she's one of those friends where um, if you ever got somebody that's going to tell you the cold, hard truth that often women don't want to hear, this is the person you need to have. This is like one of those tomboy people where you like, oh, this is my dog. She gonna advocate for me. So she's a big advocate for men. And I love what she does when it comes to development. So welcome to the platform, DC. Holla at us.
Thank you. Hey, what's up? And I tell the truth in love. Don't forget that part.
Absolute. Ooh. And
That's
I
it.
mean, whole cold hard, no sugarcoat truth for real.
Yeah, yeah. Like as you said, I ain't gonna get no diabetes, boo. There ain't nobody gonna get
Nah,
diabetes reading
nah.
the book or listening to me. So
But
And I
that's the
love
thing
that.
though. It's there's this I call it's a misconception that because you're telling the truth and you're not sugarcoating it, then you have like the coast is clear for you to say whatever and however you want to, and it gets dirty and nasty, and that's supposed to be acceptable because you are just keeping it real. How do you reconcile with that though?
well, again, so if I'm telling you the truth, I'm talking to you, whether you've been knowing me for 30 years or 30 days, you're going to know that I'm coming from a sincere heart. So I'm not beating you up when I tell you the truth. I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to be like, so think about this. Because honestly, guys, the truth is already within us. All we do as coaches
Hmm.
is bring it out. The answer, you already know the answer. The answer is already within us. It's just our job to be good listeners and have people speak it out loud so they can hear it, how crazy it sound or how profound it sound. So I'm
Hmm.
Hmm.
not going I'm not beating you up. They know. And my friends that's been knowing me for a while, they already know the answer when they call me. They call me, be like, DC, let me run something by you. And they know if it's foolishness, I'm just gonna listen. Then they be like, "What you think?" I'd be like, "All right, you ready? You ready?" They go like, "Yeah." And then I just, just
Yeah.
give my advice. But you do what you do. But they
Yeah.
know it's love, and I want the best for them. You in my circle, I want the best for you. I'm advocating for you, so they
Yeah.
know it's all in love. I'm not beating them up with it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's one of those things when we know we need to grow and we got that medicine already in us, but we need somebody else to affirm the thing that we don't really want to hear, but we know we need it.
Yes.
That's it.
Yep.
So tell us,
Yep.
tell us about what you do. You mentioned coaching, but then you talked about how you're there for your friends. But tell us what you do, who you are.
So I am first and foremost a child of the Most High.
Hey.
Okay, all prayer, all praises to God. Um, and I'm also an author, as you guys already know. And then I'm the founder of the Successful Wives Network, where we elevate women globally through professional and personal development. I'm a wife, of course. I love being a wife. Huge advocate, for marriages and things of that nature. And I'm also a podcaster. Constantly Speaking is, of course, I got to play in the name. Constantly Speaking is my podcast, but my heart is teaching. That's where I'm in my atmosphere when I'm
Yeah.
teaching and empowering. And I want to say empowering for the good, because for some reason that word empowerment, when it comes to women, has been a negative connotation, and
Mm,
I'm like, dang, I don't even like the word no more. But in terms of empowering for me, when I'm talking to wives, so the whole family can be good, the whole
right.
family can be good, not bashing men. That's a zero. That you would not call me bashing your husband. You
Yeah.
would not be calling me bashing any man at all. We're not doing that today or ever.
Tell,
I don't believe in that. That's a trick of the enemy.
yeah. Tell us more about what you said, because that was a good point. So, our platform, what we're doing here is called Modern Manhood, and so sometimes people look up like, y'all got a woman on the line, yeah, because we can't pretend like there's not value, there's not space, there's not communication and things that we want to
Right.
prove. So when you said that the word empowerment sometimes is a tricky space for women, what does that mean?
Because sometimes I'll be on other platforms with women and they'll say, we want to empower women. And it could be a positive where, it's some entrepreneur going on. So, okay, that's cool. I want to empower women, tell them, we believe in them. Other women are saying, hey, woman, I believe in you and your business endeavors, and I want to empower you to get the bag, to get this money. But then I've been on other platforms where empowerment was, we're gonna bash men. You take your power back, girl. You don't need no man. Those conversations. It's like,
Mm,
no, come on. We're in this together. You don't have to. A woman doesn't have to bash a man to be successful. You don't have
Ooh.
to do. You don't have
Yeah.
to do that. You don't have to tear him
yeah.
down, girl. I make more money than him. Or if it's not money, I'm growing. I'm doing this. He ain't doing that. It's like, no, no. Have
Right.
some honest conversations. I just don't believe in tearing down anybody. But when we're talking about marriage and relationships, why would you tear down your other partner because, you make more money or your profession? Come on. Come on.
What
Yeah.
does that
That's a no
stem
no.
from? Like the idea of having to use force in order to acquire power. One is so low vibrational, but you're expecting something good to come from bad seeds being sown. So
You
where
better
does that
answer your
come
own
from?
question. You better answer your question in the question.
Hey, I'm asking the coach. All right, This is me getting
Sure.
inquisition into a woman's mind. All right.
It.
You know what? I, well, you know what? I talk a little bit about it in the book, and some women may get upset, but it's cool. I got thick skin. I think some of that stems from how we were raised. So for
Mm,
most of us, not all women, but for most of us, we came up with toxic mothers. And what I mean by that, and that's so touchy, for some women, we came up with toxic mothers that had bad experiences with their men or with their
man,
husbands,
Mm,
okay? And our mothers didn't say, I mean, their actions, their hurt. I call it contractual anger. So mom, dad, or
mm,
mom, or whoever her dude was, or whoever your daddy was, if it didn't work out, she's spilling all of that over. So you grow up, you a little girl, you growing up, and all you hearing every day, your daddy ain't sugar honey iced tea, or you're just
mm,
like your daddy. You ain't this, you ain't all of that negativity. You a little girl. You ain't got nothing to do with mama and daddy stuff, but mama, that's all she's talking about. So you growing up, you ain't even dated a man yet. Did your mom date every man in America to say they all dogs? No, she
man.
didn't. Unless she was a prostitute, but even then, you ain't dated every man. You ain't dated every man in America. But what I'm
Right,
saying is, you grow up, you hearing all of this toxic, and as a little girl, young girl, you grow up. Now it's time to date. You carrying all of mama's stuff. That's
right,
contractual anger. You carrying all of her stuff, and you meet girl meets boy. You meet John automatically. He ain't nothing. He ain't about nothing. He ain't this. He ain't that. And guess what?
yeah.
Even if he is, why you pick him? You have a choice not to even go that
right.
route. You have a choice not to follow in your parents' footsteps.
Yeah,
So,
I
and
want to
I'm a
talk.
witness.
I
I'm a
want to talk
witness.
about that. Yeah, because your book, you
Yeah.
talk about mommy issues, and we hear daddy issues so often. This was like one of the first times I ever heard anyone mention mommy issues. But you also talk about how, like, even as a child, you're groomed to be a wife, whether consciously or unconsciously, where most men are not groomed in that same context. So, how do you feel like that actually um contributes to that? Because you got on one side, you contribute to be a wife, but you have on the other side where the man is also often seen in a resentful manner because of the pain that's inflicted in the relationship.
Yeah, yeah,
So those are two like really difficult spectrums to be able to combat when you talk about having a healthy relationship.
it is. I mean, so that's gonna have to be that woman or that man's individual choice. You know what I mean? It's gonna they
Mm,
You're gonna have to be introspective. perspective to understand that you want a healthy relationship. Because, for me, I didn't want to. I knew my marriage wasn't gonna be nothing like how my mother's was, so
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
use the excuse. I earlier on, we don't have to experience everything. Everything don't have to be a struggle, and love ain't got to be
Man.
a struggle. Come on, I
Mm,
saw what she went through, and I was like, I want no parts of it. No parts of it. Ain't no man gonna ever beat me. The only man that ever beat me was my stepfather. Why would I grow up as a woman to get a man to beat me again? That was an oxymoron.
Man.
Oxymoron to me. Why would I want to take all
yeah.
my childhood trauma into my adulthood, marry someone like my stepfather, or think it's okay to be beat on? Like that was love. No, that was pain, dude. That hurt. And
Yeah,
everybody be
that's
like,
real.
love hurts. No, you don't. We've been so conditioned
Yeah.
to believe in the struggle. We've been so conditioned. You got to go through 5 and 6 relationships and get beated on. And then, Lord, send me my husband, send me my Boaz. No, sis, take responsibility. I'm not minimizing what anybody been through any pain in a relationship, but take accountability for who you picking and who you stand with. Why do you
Right.
think it's okay to stay in an abusive relationship? I'm like, I ain't experiencing none of it, fam. None of it.
Listen, and fellas, y'all, this is modern manhood. We talking to you too.
Absolutely.
That goes for fellas on the same end. And that's something that a lot of guys talk about in safer spaces, but it's hard for men to talk about that in public. That we find ourselves in situations and in relationships that are abusive and that are violent towards us as people and as person and as men in that situation because society tells us, well, you stronger than her, so that don't matter. Or
Absolutely.
did she kill you though? Like, yeah, she got, and that's this thing that we have to really start to look at. And I love how from your perspective, DC, you really talk about the reality of what that issue looks like. There's so much that I'm reading in your book
And
that
it's
that
a
I'm
lot.
reading as a man, and like you're talking to women, but I'm like, this applies. Like, I, this is gender fluid what she's saying
Right.
right now, and I
Absolutely.
love that. And I love that because we often get into in situations where your book is literally called The Perfect Imperfect Wife. I'm not a wife, but there's so much I can learn and have already learned, and like, wow, introspection from reading this. And we have to get past that space of letting the titles keep us from learning what we need to
Hmm.
learn. So
Right.
thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
was
Thank you.
appreciative of the fact that she did it from the beginning as a child, her childhood, to
Hmm.
meeting an amazing man who didn't necessarily have the same beliefs of, but had amazing character, Pastor Lee, to going through, being a smart, intelligent young lady who was very, you know, um, very serious about her education and her childhood. She didn't even have that same type of childhood. It's almost like she's the black sheep of the family for all of the right
Yeah,
reasons. She had character.
yeah.
She loved God. One of the only people that it seems like in her childhood that would go to church consistently, that was really serious about pursuing a relationship with God, that was smart. But then it also seems like her mom wasn't a big advocate because of some of the things that she faced. So can we talk about that for a minute, and then I want to
Hmm.
step in and talk about like your marriage with Lee.
Okay. But what's the question in terms of
let's
me
let's talk
going
about your
pursuing
upbringing.
God?
Like, how did you overcome like the perfect imperfect wife? How did you overcome some of the beliefs that had contributed to your life, and just give people a synopsis of your childhood and what it was like in that, so they have an idea of the introduction in your book.
So, let's see. So, in terms of you had mentioned, my mom or whatever. So,
Mm-hmm.
even though I had a rough childhood and I felt like my mom didn't protect me, let me just say she was going through her own brokenness.
Right.
It's not an
Yes.
excuse not to protect your child from abuse, but you don't see that when you're going through it as a kid. But
Mm-hmm.
when you get older, so she was going through her own brokenness, going through her own domestic violence. You know what I mean? And so for me, I've always been, yeah, the black sheep, as we would say, always been a loner by myself, but I always had God. So at a very early age, um, my relationship with God was my relationship with God. It wasn't predicated. on my mom's, my stepdad, because you know how children grow up in church, but they may not have a relationship with God for
Right, right,
themselves. I had a relationship with God for myself because I wouldn't have been able to make it through what I did. And
right,
I could separate God from the pastor, from my stepfather
right,
who was a pastor.
Hmm.
So I didn't look at him like he was God. Too many of us look at the pastor like they're God. So those were two separate things. So when I was going through what I was going through, that's who I leaned on. And I found I always I got called L square, so I was that nerd growing up because I always had my
Hmm.
because I always had my Bible. I wasn't preaching nobody. I just had the Bible for myself because I would always
Yeah.
read it. So I found comfort in my Bible, church, and the library. Stayed reading and writing. Stayed reading and writing. So I kind of like just was just into myself. So how I got through that was always just talking to God, journaling because you a minor. So when you going through that,
right.
when you realize coming to physically save you and get you out of that. You had told people
Yeah.
what happened to you. Don't
Ooh,
nobody believe you.
yeah,
Ain't nobody saying nothing. And it could be very confusing. And you going to church every week with the abuser, the person who abused you.
right,
So,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? And you sitting up in there, you watching them preach and stuff. People know what happened. And I'm like, and I would talk to God. I'd be like, God, this ain't a church, this a cult. Cause
yeah,
I'm seeing your word of what the church's supposed to look like. And I'm supposed to look like this. But you know, I'm 10, I'm 12, you know,
right,
and I'm just talking to God like, why is it I go to church and I see this person running around speaking in tongues, sweating out their suit. But then when I get home, this abuse is taking place towards me. That could be very
right,
confusing for a
Absolutely.
child. And so you know what I mean? So that's why people that get mad at the church or they're adults now and they've been through stuff, I pray for them. They actually real close. I have an affinity for them because I get it.
right, right,
Everybody can't separate that early on, and I pray for them and I say, you know what, I hate that happened. I don't know why it happened. Sometimes we may not know why it happened. People are just evil,
right,
but God loves you. God
right.
loves you. He's never left you. Get Be honest with him. The church don't teach us to be honest with God. I feel like, and I'll just say in my experience, they teach you to have a facade. I have
Right,
very direct conversations with God. When I'm angry, when I'm upset, he's our creator. How come I wouldn't be able to talk direct to the creator that already know
right.
everything anyway? So I would encourage anyone that has ever been through any type of trauma like that, get in your prayer closet. God has never left you. He's never left you. Give it to him. Don't let people still control you, because that's still having
Absolutely.
control when you know what I mean, when you carrying all that anger and everything.
Now, how do you
Yeah.
get to the point where you can trust though? Because I see people all the time, and they're like, "Well, that may work for you, sis, but for me and where I'm at, I don't trust." Nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you get to that point? Because honestly, it's
Trusting who? God or other people? Because
yeah,
I have to
trusting.
choose God. So you have to be honest with God. Did you read the part in the book where I had to? So here it is. Now I'm an
Absolutely.
adult. Right? So God had to deal with me because what happened to me, what happens to people when they go through trauma, we protect ourselves. We build a
Hmm.
wall. I mean, oh,
Talk
queen
about
of
it.
the wall building, queen, okay? You ain't getting in, nothing. So you build this wall, okay? But God is still using you. I'm still preaching, teaching, and God is pulling layers. So through the years, God had to pull layers off me. And one day I was sitting and I had to say it out loud, and I said, Lord, because he was dealing with me about protection. And I had to say it out loud. And I said in the book, and I said, Lord, I don't trust you to protect me because I feel like
There
you
we
didn't protect me
go.
when I was younger. And when I said
Yeah,
that, whoo, I'm getting chills thinking about it now. When I said
Yeah.
that, I could feel the Holy Spirit just say, okay, now okay, daughter, now. Because I had been holding that in, not really
yeah.
even knowing. He's still blessing me. He's allowing me to bless other people. So God, you still can do what God has called you to
Right,
do, but we ain't gonna be perfect till we get up there. So he's still pulling
right,
those layers off. So I would say to somebody, get before God. Don't even worry about trusting people. Go to the source. Go to the
Hmm.
source. God, I don't trust. God, how can I even trust you to protect me because this is what I'm still holding on to. You got to be honest with God.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
huge. That's huge.
Ugh.
Huge.
Whew.
I hope that's helping somebody.
So I got a
Yeah.
question in here. What does forgiveness mean for you?
Let's see. It meant that I had to um let go of what happened. That sounds like a cliche, but it was a process that did not happen overnight. Cause I was angry, I was resentful. I was, what do we do? Keep running things in your mind of how it should
Mm,
been. You be more
yeah.
angry about how it should have been.
Hmm.
We can't change it. And honestly, one day I just got tired. I got tired of being mad. I said, I,
Yeah.
I kid you not, I got tired of being angry because sometimes though when we're angry, that feels good. I don't know about
Yeah.
y'all, but it's like because I can control it. I can
Yeah.
control it. Yeah, I'm in the pit. I'm mad. I'm mad. God sending this person to give me a word. That person, I ain't trying to hear that. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm justified in my anger. I'm
Yeah.
justified.
Hmm.
Shoot, I'm
Hmm.
holding on to this. What? What?
Yeah. See that personal
Man, but
ego, it takes those attachments and it identifies itself. And since it identifies itself, it takes all the confirmation bias to rationalize and justify this is who I am. I don't want to hear nothing outside of that. And victimization feels so good and so pleasing
yeah,
because it's comforting.
yeah.
Even if it's a prison,
Vindicating.
it's
Comforting.
my prison. Yeah. This is
It's
my
mine.
prison.
It's mine. And I can
Yeah.
control my own prison because everybody else been controlling me for years and I couldn't do nothing as a kid.
Man.
So hey, and then God for years was dealing with me with that. Like again,
Yeah.
taking them layers off. And one day I got tired of being mad. I got tired of being angry. And it stunts your growth. You
There
will
you
not grow.
go.
I don't
Yeah.
care. Listen, I don't care how many conferences you go to. I don't care how many hallelujahs and amens you get from preaching and you all the busy work we do. If you don't let that go, but your growth is stunted. God can't even
Man.
take you to higher heights where he want to take you.
That's a
And I
word.
just got tired one day. I said, God, I'm tired. I'm done. I'm done of being angry for all these years. I'm done. And that I release it. I'm done. And
Yeah.
Absolutely.
guess what? When you release it, when you forgive and release it, it doesn't and forgiveness comes with boundaries. That don't mean that you gotta allow people to use you or anything like that. But when you release it, you be like, okay. And it doesn't mean that somebody you're gonna get an apology, and it doesn't mean that that person's gonna change.
Listen.
Ooh.
Understand?
Listen. You go in there and
Understand that you grown. I'm grown because I still got people around me that still say stupid stuff to me, still don't believe what happened, still whatever. But that I don't respond like a little girl anymore. I
Let's
don't respond like
go.
a 12-year old. I don't react or respond like that. That's where you are. And I can sincerely pray for him now. Before, if I can't pray for you, I'm not gonna fake pray. God ain't gonna hear that no
Man.
way. So
yeah.
when you release that and allow God to heal your heart and massage your heart, and you just keep giving it to Him, you're gonna grow. And so when people say and do stuff like they did in the past, man, you're not even gonna react to that. You're gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. You're just gonna pray for him.
You know the
That's
beautiful
that's a
thing.
space. That's a
Yeah.
space that believe it or not, a lot of men deal with that, and we don't. It's always seen as a woman thing, right? That it's always seen as a woman thing.
Really?
Yes, women. Yes. How many times are the word submission is based in really misunderstanding what you just said. Being able to let go and forgive and not hold those grudges of what's happening when things don't go your way, when things don't go exactly how you want them to go, when things
Man.
actually end up hurtful. That space of letting that go and showing and sharing forgiveness, which means not carrying or not carrying that responsibility, is something that we ask women to do all the time, all the time. And then on the flip side, men are told, no, your strength is in standing firm, saying it with your chest, or standing on what you believe in.
Yes.
And if you're the leader, then you're the leader, and ain't nobody gonna
Wow.
affirm you or move you. And so we're in this space where the dichotomy of having to be emotional beings as men is literally the opposite of what society is telling us. And being able to say that the way you do, and sharing that this is not just a woman thing. We need everybody to understand the power of
Yeah.
forgiveness, and to
Yeah.
understand that as men, strength comes from that.
Yes.
Right, right. I think
Wow.
also another
Ooh.
thing too is understanding what's happening when a person does shut down. Because
Ooh.
even when DC got in a relationship with Lee, there was things that she was dealing with personally that she had to go to counseling with, which I really want to tap into. But having
Yeah.
a man that has a compassionate heart to say, "Hey, listen, I understand you're going through something. I just want to be here in your corner while you go through whatever this is," and not take it as a form of abandonment and
Hmm.
rejection. And I think that's why it's important to also be doing. Someone mentioned shadow work. I think it's important to have that type of compassionate heart so that your heart will allow you to be able to do that, because it's difficult to expect you to be reciprocal and have an understanding heart when you still bogged down with everything that's going on in the background,
Mhm.
right? It's just a
Hmm.
Right.
difficult process, right? And so, thanks for sharing that, Damon and DC, because that's very important. I know people, especially in relationships, deal with that. You know,
Hmm.
how can you deal with this aspect of a man that's like, you're supposed to be a leader, you're supposed to be governing, you're supposed to be living this identity that society says you're supposed to have, but then you have another person who is battling everything that they've been known to be true in their life, and they don't even know how to do this because they don't have the capacity to give what would fulfill each other. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a tough space to really be in that. It's real tough. So can we talk about counseling?
Mhm. Yeah, we can
Because
talk about
I
counseling.
understand a lot of times when you was growing up, you was called stupid, you was called dummy,
Mhm.
you was called all these type of things that you internalized as just normal. And so when you
Mhm.
got with the counselor, she was kind of confronting you on saying certain things, because she's like, sis, you got multiple degrees, you know, you handle your business as far as work,
Mhm.
you seem to be a whole functioning being on the outside with all
Mhm.
these accolades, but you still have internal dialogue that's not matching the reality of what she perceived you as. So how did that work, and how did counseling
Mhm.
work as far as where you're at in your journey of life? Because you know, religiously, we have stigmas against therapy,
Oh yeah.
and you
So
talk about that.
let me yeah, I talk. Oh yeah, yeah. I talk about that one. I think I did a whole 3 page on that one. Um, so, but let's go back to how I even got to counseling. So here's the thing about trauma with some people. So I'm just gonna say in my experience, again, once I told everybody what happened to me, no, and nobody came to quote save me in terms of a human form to help me. So you go through life, you just keep going, you just keep going.
Hmm.
So, and what happens is it's suppressed because nobody's talking about it, right? It's suppressed. So now I'm going through high school, went through college. So I graduate college and I meet my then boyfriend, but now my husband. So I'm like 22. So about a year later, I had a trigger. And it's in the book. His mother had asked me a question, and it triggered the abuse. Part before then, I hadn't thought about that anymore. It's not like you think about it
Wow.
every single day.
Yeah.
And when the trigger came, I I couldn't say no. She had asked me a question, and I couldn't say no to it. And all these emotions just came out. I just let out this loud, huge cry.
Wow.
And from that point on, I had to start dealing with what happened. So yeah, I got these degrees. I'm writing. I got this great job. I was 22, but inside, so you wouldn't have known on the outside, but on the inside, it was all these raw emotions. And so now I'm taking stuff out on Lee, and he like, okay, what'd he do? And we're dating. So now a whole year go by. I'm 23. And I went to him and I said, babe, I said, this don't even have nothing to do with us being married one day. I'm tired of feeling like this. I said, I
Wow.
need to go to somebody. That's how that came about. I said, I need to go to therapy. And yes, the church teach. So I don't know how the church teach now. I know when I was coming up, therapy was for white folks. Therapy was the devil. Therapy
Hmm.
was, oh, you ain't got enough faith in Jesus. You must not really be saved. I
Right.
rejected all of that because it was the church that killed me. That would try to kill me. That's
Wow.
why
Yeah.
so I wouldn't go to no pastor. So I told Lee, I said, I gotta go talk to somebody. So when I found a therapist. and I went ready to do the work. I showed up with my pad, my pen. I was she was
Ready.
like, she said, "Okay, I rarely see this." I was like, "No, I'm ready to do the work. You have to be ready to do the work." I'm like, "I don't
Yeah.
know, I'm feeling like this." Da, 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 da. So when I get on my first session, she pointed out that I called myself stupid. I didn't even realize I was doing that. So we were just talking, and she said, "Darlene, why do you keep calling yourself stupid?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You're referring to yourself in the third person as stupid." Well, that's all my stepfather called me. He never called me by my name. So
Mm.
you just get used to that. She said, "I'm looking at your intake. You got degrees, certification, you're a writer. You want to write a book one day." She said, "Stupid people don't do this." She said, "Every time you call
Mm,
yourself stupid, I'ma stop you." I didn't even realize
wow.
I was
Yeah.
doing that. I didn't even realize I was doing that. So then she had me, walk through my childhood and everything. Yeah. Yeah,
That
that helped me.
wow.
I'm so glad. Oh God. If I'm telling you guys, if I hadn't have went, I would be having a trigger now, a basket case, tripping, looking like a grown little woman. You know what I mean?
Man.
So yeah, it's so important whenever you feel like going to therapy, whether something bad or good is going on. You can have Jesus and a therapist too. Okay.
Yeah,
But
she said we got some questions, y'all. Carol said she loved the shirts. Thank you, sister. Thank you, sister. We modern manhood. We
yeah,
working on our branding over here. You know what I'm saying? Um,
we got something coming for the ladies too. We're gonna
yeah,
say
we
that.
got something coming from the ladies. Hey, we
Oh,
appreciate y'all. Listen,
people
they are
asking
going in.
questions.
We got
Oh, I
Ty.
can't
We
see the
got a lot of
questions.
people on the live today. This
Cool
is
for
dope,
that.
man. Um,
Oh,
Lavita
okay.
said, "What would you say now to your younger self?"
Oh,
That's a
good
good question.
question. What would I say to? I would say you are beautiful. You gonna make it. You're not stupid. Cause my stepfather called me ugly every day too. That I stopped looking in the mirror because he told me no man would ever want me. I would
God,
never be
man.
good enough. And I stopped looking in the
Mm.
mirror. So to my younger self, that's the number one thing I would probably do is look in the mirror and tell myself, no, you are beautiful. You are gorgeous. Because for years I thought I was ugly. I thought I was ugly for years. When I first
Yeah.
met my
Goodness.
husband, who was my boyfriend, when he called me beautiful, I cussed him out. That's how damaged I was. I didn't even know it. I didn't. Oh, when
Sheesh.
Mm.
I look now again, I had business
Whew.
acumen, degrees, and I remember the first time he called me beautiful. I looked at him and I said, "What the hell are you talking about? Why would you call me that?" And he was like, "Whoa!" He said, "What's going on?" Like
Mm.
I went off on him as if he called me the B word. Then and that was way before therapy.
Wow.
So things manifest, triggers manifest, and you don't even know why
Wow.
you're reacting the way you're reacting. So I would tell my younger self, you're pretty, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're not dumb. You're not dumb. You are worthy to be somebody's wife or, significant other. You are worthy. That's
Yeah.
what I would definitely tell my younger
Yeah.
self.
Yo, and you might have to catch wind when you say that. You, girl, you're smart. You're gorgeous. Because apparently you had some savagery going on that was defending. You're
Right.
gorgeous. Hey, the ladies are saying you're gorgeous too. You're beautiful. They're saying that
Oh,
therapy
thank
saved their
y'all.
lives. Man, that's
Absolutely.
beautiful, man. That's real.
Okay.
Tell them thank
Uh,
you. Thank you. I can't see the comments of the question, so but thank you guys, and I hope it's helping. I really do. Hope it's helping.
here's something that this was probably one of my favorite parts of your book. And you talked about determining the boundary problem, determining the boundary problem and the
Oh,
realities of how important it is that we understand boundaries in our life. And here's why this is important to the work that Donnell and I are doing, because as men, society tells us that you don't really have boundaries. You are to sacrifice everything you are and you have
Mm,
for your family and for your job and for whatever it is that is supposed to show you what manhood is and shows you who you are supposed to be as a man. Quite literally, I mean, soldiers are heroes, yes, but that's because they sacrifice everything. So when Donnell and I joined the military, we understood that we were erasing a boundary of putting our bodies in safety above anybody else's mission, right? So that space where men have issues with boundaries. Talk to us about the work that you've done in that and shared in that.
And men having boundaries? What do
Well,
you
no,
mean?
I,
Give
and I,
me a.
and understanding the importance of boundaries and how important it is that we talk about that with one another. You talked about that as part of a marriage, how important it is that you set your boundaries and you're
Oh
clear and
yeah.
open with your spouse. And that's a space where we tell women all the time, "May know your boundaries because your safety is important," and the likes of it. And we don't really tell men it's important to understand your boundaries so that you don't overexert yourself
Oh,
and you don't pour
oh
from an empty
yes,
cup.
yes. So, and what you were saying from the beginning, and I learned that from my husband in terms of how men are taught to sacrifice everything, for their families. So, let's see. That's kind of then who got y'all? What about y'all feelings?
Mm.
So in terms of, and I get it, men are
Ooh.
protectors. I get that, but I think because women, we've been taught, you know, the same thing
Hold
from
on,
a
hold on,
few
hold on, hold on,
different
hold
ways.
on. Say that again. I don't think y'all heard that. I don't think I've ever heard that. She said,
What I
"What
say?
about your feelings?"
Yeah. What about yeah? What men have feelings? We're taught as women. We're taught that you don't. We're taught that you don't, but you do. Men have feelings. Men hurt. Men cry, even if they don't cry in front of you. They have all this stuff inside them. So who got y'all? And if you're married, it should be your wife. Y'all should be best friends.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So yeah, in terms of boundaries, um, like my husband and I, like there's boundaries in the marriage as well. But I got his back. We have each other's back. And so while the men are providing and taking care of their family, y'all should be able to talk to y'all wives about any and everything,
Yeah.
about how you're feeling. Wait a minute, what you're scared of, what you're afraid of. You should be able to say, you know what? Right now in this moment, I don't know which way I'm going. I'm not sure which direction yet. Because in that
Yeah,
moment, you may not know. And here's
Right.
the sad part: a lot of women don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that from their mate, or a man can't be honest like that. Um,
Why is that?
because we're taught that y'all are strong, and y'all taught you guys are looked at like, how can you feel that way? And
Yeah.
it's a myth. I mean, I call my husband my Superman, but I shouldn't be his kryptonite.
Whew.
Um,
That's
I
real.
shouldn't be his
We got
kryptonite.
to get Lee on here, man. And we got to have a chat with Lee.
yeah.
I've never had a conversation with Lee, man. Because usually when we talking, me and DC be talking forever, ever. We got to
But
have a conversation because
but
he's a
that's the
pastor.
listen, that's the
Yeah,
strength
he
in
is.
that because DC, for you to be able to say those things means you've had these conversations. You stood in the uncomfortable place to give him the space to be able to
Yeah.
live in that reality of for him and not
Yes.
say, well, hold on, because your feelings right now are disrupting my feelings of safety and my feelings of that I'm gonna be all right. So we can't have that.
Right.
You got to be strong. You got to
Yeah.
you got to be. Thank you for that.
No. No.
Thank you for that.
No. He's strong when he's vulnerable. So no. And that,
Man.
Mm,
and that listen. That goes back. A lot of women don't get that. A lot of them don't get that because that goes back to how we were raised and how we watched our mama talk to men, interact with men, be it her father, be it their mother's father, her mother's brother or uncle. Mm-mm. No, if when Lee is weak or he's vulnerable, he has a safe place here. I don't care. Cry, get it out, obey. You don't know which direction we going in, and especially with him being a pastor, I'm
Yeah.
definitely covering him. The enemy stay, and he's a good one. Okay, like I said in the book.
yeah.
I said in the book. You ain't got good wife standing by the pastor and he ain't slept with everybody in the church. No, I had too much childhood trauma. I was like, my marriage ain't gonna look like
Yeah.
what. No, we ain't doing that. When he's a good one. So no, he could come to me. He could come to me. And he ain't about to go talk to another female.
Right.
Let's know what's going on. Then when your husband talking to somebody else, you tripping. No, no. And the safe space is allowing him to be honest. Ladies, now I'm talking to the ladies now. Don't say to your man, tell me the truth. Don't do that. And then when he shares his heart and tell you the truth, you flip out. Or you weaponize it and you throw it back up in his face. And I talk about that in the book. Can he trust you with his heart? My husband can trust me with his heart because he know I'm not gonna crush it.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna
Yeah.
crush it. I'm not on the phone telling people our business and stuff like that, or throwing it back up in his face 6 months later because I'm mad about something else, and then you bring in that because we have a rule in our marriage. It's called don't go to the grab pass bag. We call it the grab the pass bag. Like we talking about this issue. You going? Why you going into the grab pass bag? That's
Yeah.
our little. That's our little thing.
I
Like
like
don't
that.
I
Yes.
already dealt with that. You going? He'll be like, Darlene, you going to the grab pass bag? And I'm like, I am. Yeah, we dealt with that 6 months ago. We dealt with
I
that 3
like
years ago.
that.
What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So
That's
don't.
yes.
Yeah,
I like
Yes.
it.
And that
that,
speaks.
that works for us.
But thank you for saying that, because that actually that spoke to what I was talking about when we talk about boundaries. Boundaries are
Yeah.
not just I ain't gonna let nobody hurt my feelings, and so I'm taking care of me. No,
Yeah,
boundaries are as a unit. This is a level. This that was a boundary. You guys said, okay, there's a boundary, and it's this box.
Right.
If we go into that box, and I say, hey, you're crossing a
yeah.
boundary, we
Boundary.
need to be able to say we're not going into that space. And so for a lot of
Yep.
men, that's a space where women don't have it. We don't get to say to women, "Hey, you went too far with that." No, because she's emotional. She's and being able to step up and say, "Listen, we both have emotions. We both have flaws. We both have needs."
Yep. Yep.
That's why you got a book.
Straight up.
This is why you got a book right
Hey,
here.
It's a good book. Bro,
It
the
is an
book is
amazing
fire,
book.
hey.
fam.
Let me say this. Let me say this about my baby, about my Superman. The Successful Wives Network, it wouldn't that's a big credit to him. My
Yeah.
book, because this don't work without him. It don't work without him.
Yeah.
And I know a
Mm,
lot of women, they didn't get what I just said because they probably like, well, I don't need a man, this and that. No, it don't work without him. We're a unit. None of this works without him. I honor that man. I honor him. I
That's
honor
beautiful,
him
man.
as the not just my husband, but my pastor, and I honor him as the head of the house because he's the real deal, and I honor that, and I honor him. It don't
That's
work without him.
legit.
Period. And that don't make me weak. It doesn't make me weak for saying that at all.
say that.
It's because it's the
There's
truth. It don't work
strength.
without him.
Hey, DC, they said how can they
Beautiful.
order the book? So I'm gonna have to post a link for your book.
Listen, while we talking about it,
And
and
thank
and
you
here's, we
guys.
can be on here forever. Yeah, I know we can be on here forever, but
Yeah, we got. Oh yeah, we got time. It's almost done.
we, I
Dang.
listen. So it sounds like this is not going to be our last time talking with DC,
No.
because we got this. I got more questions. I know everybody else got more questions, but tell us where we can find you, and I'm gonna help you out because I've been over here playing, um, you know, creative. So tell
Yeah.
us where we can find you and your website and your book and your work.
You can go to website. You can go to dcconstant.com. You can also check me out, the Successful Wives Network. I'll let you in. I'm at on Facebook, DC Constant on Facebook,
Beautiful.
and
And
you can purchase the
we'll
book
tag
on
her.
Amazon. Yeah, tag me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
we'll
wow,
tag
this
the
has
links
been
for her
good.
books, for all of that.
Yeah, we
This has
appreciate you
been
hopping
good.
on with us. I could not wait because I was telling Damien, I was like, yo, we got to get DC. Well, we got to get her on her, fam. We have to. We have to. So we appreciate you taking our time. We know you got work to do. We know you got to get to work. So if you got to drop in, is there any final words you would like to give the people as far as your work, events that's coming up, stuff like that?
I would just like to say thank you guys for purchasing the book. That's those who want to purchase, that are going to purchase the book. And also, if you want me to come to speak, because I do speaking engagements, just hit me up in the DMs, and let's talk about that. Because I am traveling with the book, with my, it's called the Sip and Chat Tour.
Yeah.
With
Okay.
DC Constant, so I am traveling with the book. Men are invited to, because I'll be doing workshops. So in addition to the book signing,
Yeah.
I'll be doing workshops as well, so we can dig in and let's enhance our marriages and our relationships.
We
Awesome.
should do it. We should do we can do a modern manhood successful wives chat. You know what I'm saying? Best of both worlds to understand. Because sometimes it's talks like this, is dialogue like this that helps us be able to see into your actual world and what's going on. Because sometimes as men,
Hmm.
we are working to provide, we are protecting our security, we are so focused on being leaders that we're not often given the space to see what's going on underneath everything, right? And see
Yeah.
the mechanics of
Right.
what's govern the way you think. You know what I'm saying? Emotionally, energetically, and stuff like that. So I think that this talk was just really, it was a great talk, man. Get some stuff out in the air, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. It's been
Absolutely.
such a pleasure meeting you because I know you and I hadn't talked before today, but this is dope. Thank you for that. Donnell, tell us what we got
Thank
coming up
you.
next for Modern Manhood.
So, people, if you guys don't know, all right, LJ just tapped in with us. What up, LJ? We have the next Man Cave meetup is going to be jumping off Monday, March 28th from 6:30 to 9, and we have a karaoke competition. So this will be the actual first Man Cave meetup that we will have where women can come. Women can join us in
Oh,
this one. All right, we're gonna actually have fun. We always have fun, but this time it's gonna be a ball. So we're having a competition. Me myself, I can't sing. I ain't got the me's, but Dr. Damon does. So, all right. So I will be
Listen,
there as more support to advocate on you all that can sing. All right. What else we
man,
got?
don't tell him
Oh,
you
go
can't.
ahead.
Listen, here's the thing though, and the reality is like we're coming to have a great time. We fellas been
Absolutely.
asking when are we gonna do something fun? When are we gonna bring the ladies into the mix? And this is like we're giving away prizes, right? Of course, we're toasting to another amazing month in our community. We're showing up to our favorite black-owned business on the east
Yeah, let's
side,
go,
Kindred
Kendrick.
Spirits,
Woo.
right? We're showing
Yes.
some love, and so we're welcoming everybody to come out and hang with us and really just have a good time. And that's leading up to just a few days after that.
The Modern Manhood Masterclass. So if you guys don't know, me and Dr. Damon have actually put together a curriculum that helps men become the best version of themselves. And this was the major premise of what allowed us to really have this vision, to help men find out their ideal selves, help you get in alignment with your values, help you understand how to embrace anxiety, and really get clear on the purpose and passion of why we have been created. And so we are overwhelmed, enjoyed about this. We got a partnership with Rose State College. Woo woo. So we
Yeah.
got vendor space is going to be open. This one is going to be really awesome because we are doing it for free for students that are 17 or older. So men, sign up for this. It's $35 for 2 hours, and we also have a happy hour and a networking event that's going to be following. But this would be a great opportunity for us to take a lot of the gems, a lot of the wisdom and experience that we have cultivated. But not only become our ideal self, well, you will be a better version when you leave. I guarantee it, but we will be able to also help students understand the importance of this. And so we've been getting people that's been, wanting to sponsor tickets. If you guys would love to sponsor tickets, look, we welcome it because we want to get this filled, and we will have this filled with as many students 17 or older to be able to pour into these young men, but also build a strong manhood in our community.
Listen, we're partnering with Rose State College to do this. They gave us an entire building. We're trying to fill up the
Yikes.
auditorium, literally. So when we say free for all students, we're not talking about just Rose State students. I'm talking about OU. We're talking about Langston University. We're talking about
Let's go.
OSU. We're talking about UCO. We're talking about OCCC. We're talking about if you are a student and you are male and you are 17 or older, you need to have a seat in this space. And if you know someone who is that, you need to tell them and have them register to get their seat in this space. If you don't know what we do at the masterclass, reach out because we can share some of our highlights and we want to share some of our testimonials and we want to share what our mission is for building the community that we want to see ourselves and our children live in. And so things like this is how we do that. So get in the space, my man. Get in the
Yeah, that's
space.
it. And for you fellas that didn't catch the last one that said, "Oh, bro, I didn't even know it was that day. I'm gonna be at the next one." There you go. Manhoodmasterclass.com. Don't be trying to do us like y'all be doing y'all gym sessions sometimes. And you be like, "Man, I seen you working out. I was gonna pull up, but I had to plug in my auxiliary cord, so I couldn't make it, man. I had to make sure my fish was hydrated." Don't be doing that, bro. Sign up because it's gonna be a great experience. And ideally, man, I've seen these things happen where it's been life changing, where men said, "Man, you know what? I really needed this. I came in, I didn't know what to expect, but I'm happy." And a lot of us haven't had the space to just be happy and experience the joy of knowing that you have a purpose in your life. That is all I have.
That's it. So once again, DC, we want to say thank you. And you got
Thank you.
anything else you want to share with our family before we sign off?
Oh no, just God bless you, and I appreciate you guys. I'm honored that you guys had me in the man cave. So I'm
Let's
honored.
go.
Thank you for the trust. Thank you for the trust. I know. I mean, to me, it's an honor to be invited into the man cave as a woman. So I don't take it lightly. And thank you. Bless y'all. I love y'all.
We
Oh,
appreciate you,
thank you.
DC. Come on,
Much
man.
love.
Man, she's trying
Everybody
to
out
get
there
us
have
to
a
shed tears, man. We got to keep
listen.
that inner thug strong, bro.
Y'all have a dope day. Be well.
Y'all stay warm out there. Safe travels, DC. Not to you because y'all got paradise weather over there,
Woo!
for us in Oklahoma. All right.
Yes.
Have a great day at work, sis. We love you and continue being great. Y'all have a good day.
Absolutely. Peace.
All right.